Everyone, I'm Suguna, Assistant Professor from Computer Science and Engineering Department from SNS College of Technology. And today we are going to explore a very critical topic in cyber security and also in the email security, which is the authentication header. So this is the most important building block of secure communication, which is the authentication header and encapsulating security payload in IP security architecture. But rather than jumping into a protocol definition directly, we will go through this in a design thinking way, starting with the real problems. So we can start with this real problems by empathizing with the user and then exploring how this authentication header and encapsulation security payload will solve that problem. So let's get started. The main objective of this video session is to understand clearly, to make you understand about what the authentication header is and what the encapsulating security payload and why these protocols are very essential for secure communication and where they are used in real-time environment. So let's begin with a quick recap. So in earlier sessions, we learned how data traveling across a public network can be intercepted, modified or misused. We studied the IP security architecture, which is a framework that protects the data at the IP layer. So authentication header and ESP, which is encapsulating security payload, are the two core components that make this IP security more powerful. Now let's see why they are needed. For to have a better understanding of this, let me take a scenario of a person called Ravi. So we just had an imagination. This is an imagination person. We can meet Ravi. He needs to send a critical company data through a public internet. So he know the data must remain confidential and more importantly it should not be tampered with integrity. So here we need to ensure integrity and also the confidentiality, which where the both plays an essential role. So Ravi needs a method that protects his data end to end. So this is where the authentication header and encapsulating security payload comes in. So we will define this. So what is this authentication header? So let's define this authentication header. So it is a protocol used to secure or used to prevent the data integrity, data origin authentication and protection against the replay attack. But it does not provide the confidentiality. So the data is not encrypted here, but the attackers cannot alter or fake the packets. So what is this encapsulation security payload? So here are the ideas. So the encapsulation security payload goes in one step further. It provides data confidentiality, which is for encryption, integrity, authentication, and anti-replay protection. So while authentication header focus on integrity and authentication, and this ESP will focus on encryption plus authentication. So when combining this authentication header and encapsulating security payload, we can give a dual protection for our data. So this is where the ideation part goes in. So to secure Ravi's communication, we need to decide, should we use authentication header or should we use ESP or should we use both? So here is the design thinking helps us to evaluate this. If Ravi needs only integrity, we can go for only authentication header. If Ravi needs only encryption, we can go for ESP, which is encapsulating security payload. If he needs a complete protection, then we can go for authentication header plus encapsulating secure payload together. So this gives us the best of both. So here is a prototype development step. How do they work? Now let's see how a authentication header and encapsulating security payload works internally. So here the AH, which is an authentication header, protects the IP header plus payload except the mutable fields. ESP protects only the payload but encrypts it completely. Both creates a secure packet structure. Both using hashing plus keying material to protect the message. ESP additionally acts an encryption algorithm like ASE or triple DES to perform the stronger encryption. So together they transform the normal IP packet into a secure IP packet. So this is the prototype we are going to give for Ravi to protect his messages. I hope you clearly understand about this prototype working. So here is an application where do we use this authentication header and encapsulating secure payload. Almost everywhere a data security is required, we are going to use this AH and ESP in a combined manner. So virtual private networks in corporate internets, in e-commerce transaction, and in government and military networks, and in cloud communication areas, and where the mobile IP security is required, we can use this authentication header and encapsulating security payload, which is we shortly referred as ESP. So wherever the data travels, here both AH and ESP guards the path of that traveling. So here is I had given a role play activity to clearly understand about the authentication header and ESP. So let make this more interactive now. So try this activity with your classmates or teammates so that you can understand which one blocked the attack and how this authentication header helps them to get back their data. So I hope you clearly understand about this AH and ESP. So here let me have an brainstorming session of clearly what you had understand. So I had given just 3 questions of to check your understanding. Just try to answer for this question and you can able to know whether you have understand this concept or not. So this activity helps you to understand how AH offers integrity and authenticity. And let's quickly summarize what we learned today. So AH is nothing but integrity plus authentication. ESP is nothing but encryption plus integrity plus authentication. And AH protects the packet header where ESP hides the content. Together they form the backbone of secure communication in IP security. So used in virtual private network, servers and enterprises and in the critical networks. So next time when you send a secure message or access a virtual private network, remember authentication header and encapsulating security payload are silently protecting your data. So thank you so much for watching. If this video is helped you to understand AH and ESP better, make sure to implement it in a real world example. So stay curious, stay secure and see you on the next video. Thank you all.